I got involved because I was interested in how Jeremy used film, a medium that I obviously work in a way to educate and to document positive action. And so as someone involved in film, I felt that I could contribute a little bit more than just being, in a more cynical way, sort of a famous face. But at the same time, you know, we do live in a world where personalities and famous faces attract attention. And I've also always been a fan of people that have used that in a constructive way. So if people are going to stick a camera in my face, why not say something worth saying and maybe shine a light somewhere that needs a light shining on it.
Well, you famously hate journalists, particularly British journalists, and I know today you said you hate cynics as well, and old people. I feel I fall into all three camps, because I'm sure lots of people will be wondering, why one day? Can it make any difference? You know, okay, we've got Jude Law, big celebrity, but is it actually making a big fundamental difference, and for how long?
If we're gonna hope to have a future, a sustainable peace program globally, we have to start with one day. And so at the moment, the idea is to, you know, have this day celebrated by as many people as possible, for it to be self-sustaining, and then let's look at peace for 2 days. At the moment, we're still working towards a day.
I think it's also important. I mean, it's fascinating to listen to Jude. I mean, his kind of articulation, you know, has always been fantastic and very clear. And I think that one of the things that's important to us, I think one of the things that's been very clear is that it's also a day of non-violence. I think it's important for people to know that the real war that humanity faces today, the real violence that's going to occur is with a fist. It's not necessarily with a gun, and that's happening all over the world, in every city of the world. And that's why when the resolution was originally put forward, we put the words non-violence into it. So this day is about the violence that's going on in our schools, the violence that's going on in our homes, the violence that's going on in our communities, and therefore we all have a role to play. And one of the things that we're really seeing is, you know, why one day, is it really sustainable? Yes, it is, because what it's doing is it's inspiring and empowering young people to become involved in the peace process, and through the education materials that we have, that teaches them to become peacemakers. So it's not just about guns, it's about much, much more than that. And the activities that we see going on around the world, of which are in their thousands, demonstrates exactly that point.
Can I just pick up on something you said as well about me apparently famously hating journalists? I'm just a great believer that if you have an opportunity, it's good to do something positive with that opportunity. What I hate is using opportunities cynically and negatively. And what I see an awful lot of, whether it's a diarist, whether it's a correspondent, whoever it may be, using that opportunity that is feeding information back to people who are interested, who want to maybe participate and want to learn, or want to make an offer of change themselves, reading fluff and cynicism. And to me, that's nothing but negative. There are many journalists I know, who I read and I follow, who write brilliant pieces and write, positive stuff. I'm not saying everything has to be positive, I'm just saying let's balance it out. And a lot of that is often down also to the editor's job of choosing what is positive and what is going to be healthy, as opposed to just negativity.
There's a lot to be negative about, though, in the Congo.
Absolutely.
Particularly. I mean, the brutality, the daily lives of some of these people, apart from the poverty, is absolutely full of violence and intimidation and terror.
And that's exactly why the challenge and the uphill struggle, if you like, to get a concert like this arranged and happening in this country was why we're so excited by the opportunity, because the world thinks of this, this region in one way and one way only, for good reason. We're hoping to shine and for them to demonstrate to the world something positive.
Is there any part of life in Congo or the Great Lakes region which has really stuck out to you as something that has affected you?
The one thing that does affect me wherever I've been with this organisation is that there's always a generation beneath it that somehow have hope, that always want to believe that things can change. And if we can keep getting to them and hope and feeding that hope, there's always a possibility that there will be change. Forgiveness is always a huge thing to ask, but there's also a hope that in the name of the next generation, forgiveness and hope is also embraced by those that have suffered so terribly in so many different ways.
Do you get depressed by all of this?
Yeah,
Must be hard
hugely.
not to.
I do. I get hugely depressed, but at the same time, there's always seems to me to be a reminder that there is incredible goodness, incredible goodwill in the world. I mean, I had a summer, like everyone, reading of the atrocities around the world and the conflicts around the world, and with this, you know, coming up, there was a part of me thinking, good Lord, you know, is it a losing battle? But you know, to give up that hope is sort of like, you know, giving up on life in a funny way, and I'm certainly not ready to do that, and I don't believe the majority of the world are either. So there's always a glimmer of hope.
And what about being scared?
I don't get terribly scared. No, I mean, I feel I'm always in safe hands with this organisation, and I feel alive more than anything when I come to places like this.
Does it make you feel better?
It certainly makes me feel better. It's the best work I do. I mean, I love what I do, and I'm very lucky to be doing a job that I've always loved and I enjoy. But I come away from my work with this organisation feeling, you know, positive about people.
And Jude Law, can I put you on the spot to have the final word as ambassador for
Please.
peace one day? If you had 20 seconds to speak to the world, what would you say?
Good Lord, that's really putting me on the spot. Well, we are a couple of days away from Peace Day, 21st of September. It's the only globally recognised day of non-violence and ceasefire, and I would say to everyone, recognise it, use it in whichever way you want. How and who will you make peace on that day?